I want to welcome you to Indiantown Gap as we start a series of V-clips on what happens at Indiantown Gap. Lieutenant Colonel Hepner, if you'd fill in a little bit on how big is the Gap, number of employees, number of troops that come here every year, what's the economic impact?
All right, sir. Well, sir, Fort Indiantown Gap is a Pennsylvania National Guard's training center where we have over 17,000 acres of land that we use both for maneuver and we have a number of our range complexes on that land. We train over 130,000 soldiers here annually. The Fort Indiantown Gap, as far as economic impact, we have over 2,000 employees here in Fort Indiantown Gap, and we have a $500 million economic impact to the surrounding communities. The training we do here is anywhere from small arms training to maneuver training out in our training corridor to 50 caliber and Mark 19 weapon systems training. We fire artillery at the Gap, and we are very proud to say that what we do here at the Gap, we do very well, and we train today's soldiers to fight America's wars.
Well, and I think as we go forward in the series, we're going to find that we don't just train the Pennsylvania soldiers.
No, sir. We train soldiers from both the active component, the National Guard, and the Army Reserve. But also, on top of that, we train Marines, sailors, and airmen here at Fort Indiantown Gap. So we hit all of the components of the military.
Yeah, we had a quick tour of the base before we started this interview, and we saw the variety of training available, from helicopters to drones to tanks to Bradleys to the ranges, pistol and rifle ranges. So it's a very diverse training modular here, and I was very, very impressed. I want to tell you that, very impressed. And just for the viewers back home, so as we go through this series of interviews, they understand this isn't just for combat missions, but in fact you have a very large domestic component of your mission.
Absolutely, sir. The Pennsylvania National Guard works with PEMA on a regular basis in our efforts to do domestic response, whether it be a flood, whether it be a hurricane, whether it be an actual chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear incident. We are poised here at Fort Indiantown Gap with our Joint Emergency Operations Center to work directly with FEMA in case of a natural disaster or a domestic response. This Fort Indiantown Gap is the home to the Joint Force Headquarters, it's the home to the Adjutant General, and we take our mission as supporting civil authorities very seriously here, and we do a real good job of supporting them in the case of a domestic response.
Tell me a little bit about what's behind us.
Okay, where we're at here at Fort Indiantown Gap, this is our collapsed structure site. Our collapsed structure site is primarily used for search and extraction. Search and extraction of both personnel from vehicles, from collapsed structures. We're able to rappel from the collapsed structure, and we're actually able to do saves by rappelling down to people that this is supposed to replicate an elevator chute. So this collapsed structure, we had one smaller than this. We made this one bigger because we had more of a need for it, especially with our Homeland Response Force mission that we have here in Pennsylvania, and our CBRN mission, our chemical, biological, and radiological nuclear teams actually do a lot of their training here, because part of that Homeland Response Force, they have a search and extraction team that if we have a complex catastrophe and we have to do search and extraction, this venue here will help those search and extraction teams train to be able to do that real world. Again, like I said, we can extract people out of vehicles, we can extract people out of collapsed concrete structures. We have some underground tunnels where we can do some confined space training here on the site. So all three of those things will train those search and extraction teams to be able to actually train real world for a complex catastrophe.
I want to thank you very much. Thanks very much for taking the time out today and showing us this site.
Sure, you bet, sir.